Coming to you live from the JRE Tobacco Aladino Mobile Studios, it's the Cigar Pulpit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I am the Bishop of the Burn, Nick, and today you're hearing all my thoughts about TPE 2025. So today is going to be one of those long episodes where I have interviews from the show floor, but also, I bring you my thoughts about the trade show and kind of what I saw, things of that nature, and kind of go from there. So let's go ahead and get a cigar rolling because we have a lot to cover, and I want to get right into it. So today, it's always one of those things where it's hard for me to decide what cigar I'm going to smoke on this episode because, I talk with so many different manufacturers and companies, while at TPE, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm picking one over all the rest. And so it's always difficult to figure out what are you going to smoke for the TPE episode. So that's why it kind of came in a little handy that the USPS, not UPS, they have their own issues. USPS decided that they were going to take their sweet time and send my Perdomo 30th anniversary Sungrown all over the fucking Midwest and get that to me while I was gone. I did get it, but it was I believe actually I take that back. I got the 30ths right before I left. I did get them right before I left. Still took just shy of 2 weeks to get here. But still, nonetheless, they did arrive. It was the show pack. It was the Cigar Authority show pack that also took a tour of the Midwest and arrived while I was gone. That also took excessively long and went to Iowa and then Kansas City and all over the place. But that's neither here nor there. We're not getting into that. Hopefully, soon I will be having an episode dedicated to the post office, but that's a work in progress. Anyway, so today I will be smoking the 2024 Parishioners Cigar of the Year. It is the Perdomo 30th Anniversary Sungrown Epicure. It is a 6x54 Nicaraguan Puro made by Perdomo. And guys, you guys voted this your top cigar of 2024. And trust me, I have smoked it, and it is a very, very good cigar. So you guys did a very fine job picking the cigar of the year. So it's time to cut the cigar. And the official cutting is brought to you by 2guyscigars.com. That's the number 2, guyscigars.com. 2 Guys have been around for 40 years, and they are the trusted name in the cigar industry. Everybody knows 2 Guys, but if you don't, please give them a try. You will not be sorry. Family owned and operated, 2guyscigars.com does the very best to provide a great selection, fair prices, and excellent customer service. 2guyscigars.com is where I went to track down and purchase the Perdomo 30th Anniversary Sungrowns. I got 2 of them and have them shipped my way. And under normal shipping circumstances, they usually get here very, very swiftly. But we've talked about all my issues with the post office. So anyway, please go to 2guyscigars.com for your next cigar purchase. Tell them that the Cigar Pulpit sent you. And remember, that is the number 2, guyscigars.com. And with that, it's time to go ahead and cut the cigar. I want to point out, smelling the foot on this cigar, it's an intense barnyard aroma. It's that kind of, it is. It's a barnyard aroma, and I know that some people just don't like that barnyard flavor note or tasting note or whatever you want to call it, but it just it hits the olfactory senses, and it's like barnyard, and it's hard not to. And that's not just poop; it's a mix of all sorts of different things. But straw and dirt and just all of it. It all comes together to make barnyard. But anyway, so now it is time to go ahead and light this guy up. And so while I do that, you guys are going to hear the greatest commercial you've ever heard.
Some say cigars are all the same. It's just not true. It's you I have to blame.
Well, I don't know, 'cause what I know, there is a cigar called Aladino. Corojo.
Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. They say authentic, so we're not confused, while the others say it's a word that's just abused.
I guess that's so, they can't compete. At least I'm sure Aladino can't be beat.
Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Corojo. Aladino Cigars uses authentic Corojo tobacco from JRE Tobacco. This is the greatest commercial you ever heard.
Yeah.
All right. Now, I got to say, before we get into the TPE coverage, I'm sitting out here in my garage. It is 70 flipping degrees. I have the garage up. I got my car pulled out. I have, airflow. I'm in shorts. I'm living life right now. I had to brag for a moment. Like, for those of you who are still dealing with cold temperatures, but oh my God, this day is just about as absolutely perfect as I could get. And I'm so happy that I'm able to take advantage and enjoy it. I will say my voice seems to be a little strange. So, yeah, there you go. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, the voice seems to be a little strange. So, guys will have to just deal with that. But anyway, so let's just jump right into it. TPE. Now, I've been going to this show since 2020, so this is my 6th year going. As I've talked about on this show before, TPE it used to be the Tobacco Plus Expo. Now it is the Total Products Expo. There is, the last couple of years, they've done 2 floors. So 2 stories. Cigars are on the first floor, and the way it works is they're color-coded carpet. So you have the red carpet where all the cigar industry stuff is located. Then there is the blue carpet where you have everything else. And when I say everything else, we'll get into this later. It is everything else, and more this year than even previous years. But it's everything else. And so they have that segregated. This year, coming into it, I could tell based on the list of attendees or companies attending that there were fewer cigar companies coming to this. There were some names that were fairly obvious, ones that had been there every year that I've gone. It was TPE where I met Jonas at Blackbird in 2020. Oscar Beladeris, he normally is there every year. Who else did I notice wasn't listed that normally goes? There's just a number of brands that normally are there and weren't. And so I knew coming into it, and if you listen to the episode where I kind of preview this show with Noah, I kind of went over some of that. However, coming to the show, arriving and getting onto the actual floor and starting to walk it, you didn't realize, by looking at the attendee list, you didn't realize just how dramatic it would feel. It was dramatic this year. Like it definitely felt like cigars slipped even further back than before. Now, in all fairness, let's talk about perhaps why this is coming into this. So, TPE 2024 was January, obviously, of last year. Last year, excuse me, this is mid-afternoon, and I don't know why in the hell I'm yawning right now. I don't know if my sandwich is catching up to me or what, but anyway, I apologize. So coming into TPE 2024, PCA, which normally is in July, or at least previously had been in July, had moved up and was now in March. And so the two shows were like 60 days apart last year. And so because of that, I'm readjusting my tripod. I apologize. That was really, really poorly done. The two shows were like 60 days apart last year, and it cannibalized the attendance. Plain and simple, it cannibalized the attendance. You had retailers that normally would go to both shows, pick and choose, and they decided to go to PCA over TPE. That was very obvious last year. It was definitely just it happened. There's no other way around it. This year it's the same deal. PCE is in April, TPE end of January. Okay, maybe that was the big one, and I got it out of my system. Seriously, guys, I don't know. I need to take a drink or something. But anyway, maybe it obviously happened again this year in that regard, where you had retailers that said, "I don't need to go to 2 trade shows in, 3 months. I can hold off and wait until PCA." That's not to say there wasn't anybody there. I believe this is probably a decent show for West Coast retailers. I saw Neil from Mac's Smoke Shop there. I saw Tim Swanson from Cigars Daily. The more Western located shops went to TPE. And so I do think that it has its place in that regard. But, oh God, this is embarrassing. But I won't drink a soda. Maybe. Or not. Whatever. We're going to wait on that. I'm sloppy right now. I don't know what's going on. So TPE, the two shows, they just are conflicting. And TPE, it's fairly obvious, has leaned in hard on the blue carpet. It's pretty obvious that that's where the money and the attendance comes from. The retailers that are coming, they're interested in the blue carpet stuff. And, the cigars, obviously, look, the cigars, they have some, but the convenience store owners, they don't care about cigars. You go into your average convenience store, you're lucky to find a Fuente. You might find Acid. You're typically not finding cigars in convenience stores. And so, or if you do, maybe General or Altadis products, but that's really about it. So the bottom line was, I knew after the results of last year, I think a lot of manufacturers used last year as kind of their test as to what it was going to be like having the two trade shows close together. And I feel like that's what caused people like Oscar to say, I can't do both. I can't justify both. I'm going to do one or the other. And so a lot of brands sat it out. But there were plenty that did show, and I did get interviews with some. I feel like this has kind of become a show where you have the really big boys, you have the you have a couple of mid-range companies that are saying, whatever. If we get a couple of things out of it and it brings in a little bit of profit, then hey, you know what? We sent like one or two guys and it was all worth it. And then you have the really tiny companies that just are absolutely desperate for some attention and look at this as an option for them to get in front of some retailers. And perhaps maybe they don't have money for PCA. Maybe this is the only trade show they can afford. That kind of thing. I don't know. We will see. But that's what it felt like. So let's just go ahead, jump into some interviews. I'm going to go inside and slam a whole bunch of coffee in the meantime and hopefully get rid of these yawns. And then from there, I'll come back and continue my thoughts. But yeah, in terms of the show floor, just to kind of set the stage here, there were less cigar vendors, and even some of the blue carpet brand, products crept onto the red carpet. So this year, being on the red carpet did not necessarily guarantee you were dealing with cigar people. You had plenty of blue carpet products on red carpet. So there, I'd say, look, last year I would say that cigars were maybe an eighth of the total show floor between the two floors. This year, I'd say it was even less. It was significant. Like I said, being on the red carpet did not guarantee you were a cigar-related product or company. And so it was hard to differentiate this year. But anyway, I'm going to jump into some interviews. You're going to hear the first group of interviews. We've got 4 groups of interviews. Well, I should say 3 groups and then one relatively long interview. So we're going to have 4 interview breaks. But the first group here, you are going to hear from our friends at Aganorsa Leaf, Christoph, Aladino, and United Cigars. And we're here with Terrence Riley of Aganorsa Leaf. How you doing?
Just living the dream. Dream. Better now that you're here.
Oh, well, see, that's so sweet. He's always so nice to me. So what do we got at Aganorsa Leaf?
So we got a couple of things we're showcasing here. Of course, you're holding our new size of Supreme Leaf. That's a nice little Royal Perfecto, we call it, 5.5 by 52. You got beautiful taper on both ends. Be shipping around March time, so we're showing that off here today.
Nice.
And of course, we've got our Aganorsa Flex sampler. So take a look at that, nice and flexy. And you open it up, it's got 10 cigars, our best Aganorsa brand products. You've got Supreme Leaf in there. You've got a couple rare leaves. You've got the Anniversario series in a round format. You don't get that outside of the sampler. And these are for events with our Aganorsa Select partners. So you join our Aganorsa Select program, you do an event. We send out about 10 of these to do events for us, to get people to come on in. And it's great because if you're not familiar with Aganorsa, it's a great sampling of our products. You can get something that really will give you a nice selection of our signature flavor and aroma. And if you love Aganorsa, you're not going to find some of this stuff outside of the sampler. So
no, that's really nice looking. I really like that.
We're happy.
Yeah.
And we're happy if you're happy.
I'm super happy.
See, people helping people. It's circular. Like a merry-go-round.
There you go. Well, where can people find out more about Aganorsa Leaf?
So AganorsLeaf.com is a great place to check out a lot of information. Our YouTube channel, Aganorsa Leaf YouTube. We got videos, farms, factories, everything out there. And of course, Instagram and Facebook. If you're a big fan, Aganorsa Acolytes, our Facebook group, private group, over 3,000 members. Nice. We're validating, we're flexing in there. Got all sorts of nice prizes and stuff for people sometimes. So come on in and join us.
There we go.
More the merrier.
Thank you, Terrence. We're always a pleasure.
My pleasure. Let's do a flex, quick.
And we're here with John from Christoph Cigars. How you doing?
I'm good, Nick. Good to see you guys
good
again.
Good to see
How's
you.
Everything?
It's great. So what is new with Christoph Cigars that we need to know about?
So this year's focus is going to be a little less on new product and a little more on the rebranding of the existing product and the core portfolio that we've started over the last year. So last year at PCA, we were able to show our rebranded packaging on the Vengeance product line. We have since moved forward and started to progress through the portfolio. And here behind us on the end, you're going to notice our San Andreas, our Pissed Off, and our Cameroon, all in its repackaged format.
That looks really nice with the gray, the black, and that really nice, vibrant red.
Came out amazing.
Yeah.
Came out amazing. And the biggest thing to take away and notice from that, outside of that nice pop that it has, Pissed Off is now a 20-count box instead of the 10 counts that it's been since its inception. We're still working through some inventory on certain sizes, but 3 of our best-selling sizes, Robusto, 6x60, and the Extremely, are already shipping in that 20-count format. So retailers are already starting to see that transition. Outside of all of that, the hype for this year continues on with our 20th anniversary celebration. All of the Vente product, 4 sizes, doing outstanding in the marketplace. Excellent smoke to commemorate. And sitting in the center there, that Tres Compadres, Cigar Enthusiast was kind enough to name us #1 boutique cigar of the year.
Wow.
Last week with Tres Compadres. So that blend's been doing outstanding since its release in 2023.
Tres Compadres is a really good cigar. I personally skew more towards the Nicaragua, which I believe is a very similar blend, just different, some slight differences.
Yes, so both have the same Nicaraguan Habano wrapper on it.
Okay.
And that's where the similarities are.
Yeah.
The Nicaraguan Puros on both cigars.
Yeah.
The biggest difference being that the Christoph Nicaragua is a little heavier to the Esteli tobacco, so a little more of what you traditionally think of with
A little
a
more
Nicaraguan
spice
cigar.
and-
correct.
yeah.
Tres Compadres runs a little heavier with Condega Jalapa, so it's a little more subtle. Depending on the smoker, it may even smoke like a mild cigar too.
Yeah.
It's more that mild medium spectrum, and both are doing outstanding.
Well, they're both very, very good cigars. So where can people find out more about Christoph Cigars?
Christoph.com. We just revamped the website, so it should be much more user-friendly and have much more information on it for you. Give you everything you need from us. And as always, your local retailer. Go find them. Go find them. Go smoke them.
Very much. John, thank you so much for taking
My
time
pleasure,
out.
guys. Anytime.
And we're here with Andrea with Aladino. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Fantastic. Always wonderful to see you. So what do we have from Aladino here at TPE?
So this year at TPE, we have the Candela's Back, seasonal release, right in time for St. Patrick's Day.
There you
It's
go.
been a hit the last 3 years, so we brought it back. We also have the Toro Fox Press collection, which was, we brought it in December, and we still have it available now for TPE, which is 5 blends of the Fox Press, which we only have it in Maduro originally line.
Yeah.
But here we have it in Connecticut, vintage, and classic.
Well, the Maduro's in
Oh,
there because it was
yeah.
already in. Yeah,
Sorry
yeah.
about that.
So you need to have made that one a round one. You should have done all the others in box press and put the Maduro in as a round
See how
one.
they
And
taste.
that would have been, mix it up a little. That would
Love
have been
it.
good.
That's
That
a
would have been
great
good.
idea. So,
You can have that one for free.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Maybe.
Maybe.
No, check
Well,
out-
hey, if you want to cut me a check for it, I'd be more than happy.
Check those out. They're awesome. 10 count. Then we have the limited edition. Get back by popular demand. So this is great. Get it while you can. If you don't know when it'll be back. And then the Puma Noche has been getting a bunch of awards. We're super excited about Cigar of the Year and Cigar in Spirit. We got number 8 in Cigar Journal. So if you haven't tried it, make sure you grab it.
It also got number 2 in the Pulpit
And the Pulpit.
Parishioners
We
group.
We have it over here. Look.
Yes, we're on the form. Yes.
We're on the farm. So a bunch of exciting stuff for Puma Noche, and we have the rebrand of Rancho Luna, which is about so great for everyday
That
cigar.
comes in both the Connecticut and the Habano, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And a display case for each store, and then you can refill with bundles, so it's awesome, great bang for your buck.
Very cool.
Definitely check it out, and that's pretty much it.
Very cool. Well, where can people find out more about Aladino Cigars?
You can check us out at Aladino Cigars on Instagram or JRETobacco.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Great to see you guys.
Great to see you. And we're here with Oliver Nouveau of United Cigars. How you doing, Oliver?
That was quick intro. I'm doing great. Great. Day 2 of TPE. We're here. You guys are here at Cigar Pulpit World out there. What's going on?
There you go. So what have you had to show the folks today?
So we just announced the Macau Black Firecracker.
That's a big
which will
one.
ship to retailers in June. So we have that on the table along with our firecrackers. Of course, our red anchor and the ashtrays that have been going out to retailers to help support them. And we have our new Cuba bags coming out as well. These will be beautiful display. They'll hold 30 bags to make it convenient for retailers. But each bag will have 5 Toros in one wrapper, along with a free firecracker in the same wrapper at the top.
Oh,
So beautiful
okay.
value, and they're great, easy grab.
Love it. Love it. It's great. And then obviously the Macalla Firecracker was announced. Now there's another firecracker as well.
We did.
Yes.
We announced this, and that's a special one. They're all special, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I want to take away from it. But now
But that's
with
not.
this
This isn't the 4th of July kind of release. That was the Macallan.
That was the
This
Macallan.
This is a different one.
This will be in the fall, and this we're celebrating with the J.C. Newman family because it's been 6 years since Sanford Newman found Cameroon tobacco, Cameroon wrapper, to bring it to the industry. So we felt it was the best partnership. We sat down with them. They wanted to partner with us. So it would be El Baton Cameroon firecracker that will ship out in the fall.
Love it. Love
And
it.
a great time of year to celebrate the with the firecracker, with the Cameroon, because I feel like the Cameroon wrapper just has those fall flavor.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. Well, where can people find out more about United Cigars?
If they check us out at United Cigars on all social media platforms, they can reach out to us. They can find us. They can see what's going on behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, and all good things.
There you go. Thank you so much for taking
I
time out,
appreciate
man.
it.
It's always a
Always.
great time talking.
Always.
Thank you.
And don't forget, you got to buy United, smoke United, live United.
Okay, well, hopefully the audio is coming through fine on these interviews. Guys, I can't even tell you some of the technical bullshit problems I had this time around, and I don't know why. Like, I didn't do anything different this time than I have in previous years, but it seemed like, well, I did some interviews on Friday, and the way it worked was I had my wired lapel mics with me, and I plugged them into my iPhone, and of course, you got to use a dongle because, Apple got rid of all of the damn ports, and you got to use one port for everything. So the headphone or the microphone's plugged into the dongle, which then plugged into the phone. Well, my phone must have registered them as headphones because it apparently it opened up iTunes, and so if I go right now to interviews I did on Friday, you see the video of the interview, but then the background is just the music playing from my iTunes. There's no audio of the interview, and so I had to redo some interviews the next day, and that was awkward. That was not pleasant, but such is life. But I did notice in reviewing some of these interviews that a couple of them the audio is a little low, and so I'm hoping that you guys can hear those just fine over like background crowd noise and things of that nature. But we'll see. We'll do our best. But anyway, so I talked about the show floor and how cigars definitely were a smaller presence on the show floor this year versus previous years. Along those lines, I'd like to point out, the booths that were there were smaller. Not everybody, some booths were the same, but like Drew Estate, they normally have this really big elaborate booth with like the bridge, and they've got a DJ playing and everything like that. Very subdued, very small. It was a decent sized footprint. It was one of the larger cigar booths, but at the same time, it was just a walled off area. Had a couple of tables, had a center island booth, where they were giving out some samples of some of their infused and flavored cigars, and that was really about it. By and large, no music. The only music came from this booth across the way from the cigar, like they call it the cigar pavilion. Basically, it's an area where you've got about 10 different brands that have the smallest size booth possible. And they put them all in one area. That way, as a small brand, you still can have a footprint there, but it's the smallest price commitment that you have to pay for. And gets your foot in the door and lets you do business, but, you're sharing space with 9 other brands. Well, that's where, like, Aganorsa Leaf and Christoph and Artista and who else was there? There were a number of brands there. JRE Cigars was there. Jake Wyatt was there. Fratello was there. That's probably that's at least half of them. Anyway, they were all in this pavilion, right? And they were right on the edge of the red carpet, right where the red carpet meets the blue carpet. Okay, well, right across the way from them on the blue carpet was this very loud booth that had a DJ playing, and they were playing the greatest hits of Bali World or something like that. It was a very Indian style music, and it it's funny. Everybody I talked to said they kind of like the song. The problem is they don't like hearing it every 90 minutes on a loop all day long and at like melt your fillings decibel levels. The media lounge that they had for us was on the far wall of the convention hall, from the center island. And you could hear the music from that booth clear as day in the media lounge. So doing business at that cigar pavilion it had to have been damn near impossible. I'm sure they may do and whatever, but it had to have been extraordinarily difficult. But anyway, let's put it this way. I could not get interviews there unless I was doing it during the 10 to 11 a.m. media hour before the music started. Once the music started, getting interviews at that pavilion was not a feasible option for me. So Artista, that poor guy, I had to wait until Friday to be able to get him just due to the logistics of the music. But anyway, so that's kind of the show floor. Now, the big thing that everybody at TPE this year on the cigar side was talking about, aside from attendance, was ironically TPE 2026. They weren't even talking about this year; they were talking about next year. And the reason they were talking about next year is because the dates were published in the brochure that you received when you got to TPE with the floor map. And so TPE 2026 is going to be held March 31st through April 2nd, which when you look at the calendar, PCA 2026 will be held April 17th through the 20th. So that 2-month window, that end of January to April window, has now been reduced down to 15 days, 2 weeks. You've got 2 weeks between the two shows next year. Now, to their credit, TPE has said that when they spoke to the Las Vegas Convention Center, that was the only period of time that was available to them. I guess there's a very large construction-related trade show that is taking place during the normal time that TPE would be there. And this trade show with this construction stuff not only takes up the entirety of the convention center, but also the parking lot with large machinery on display. And so it was not feasible for TPE to have their same end of January dates that they normally do. However, talk about a kick to the balls for the cigar side of things. The simple fact of the matter is I spoke with a number of manufacturers or a number of brands who flat out told me we won't be here next year. We when you look at the calendar and you see that these are 15 days apart, do we benefit from being at both shows? Less so at TPE than PCA, but all it takes is one good distributor to come on board or something like that, and suddenly you've made the show. It doesn't take much to make the show at TPE, but with it being so close, it's just not feasible. That's not to say that everybody won't go. I can definitely see a scenario where an Altadis, a General, an Oliva, some of these bigger brands, Drew Estate, some of these bigger brands that have a very large network of sales representatives, especially ones working the West Coast, could potentially say, you know what, guys, go work Vegas on the West, for those 3 days. Try and get your West Coast customers to come into Vegas, try and make it worth it, that kind of thing. But and that's the thing. It may still be a viable show for those West Coast retailers that maybe don't want to travel to New Orleans in a couple of weeks afterwards. That might be the case. But But for some companies, and I don't want to name names, but definitely the B and C, the mid-range companies, they're not going to go. I mean, plain and simple, they're not going to go. And the small guys, again, it all depends upon, it all depends upon if they have the money for PCA. If they don't, and I'm not going to name names. I don't want to name retail or manufacturer names, but I have a couple of companies in mind where maybe they're in their budget. They can say, we can do one trade show a year. We can be a PCA, and it's going to cost us, I don't know, $20,000. But if we go to TPE, maybe it only costs us $10,000. They're going to go to TPE, and hope that they're going to roll the dice and hope that maybe there's enough retailers there to make it worth their while. I don't know. Bottom line is, if you think attendance on the cigar side was low at TPE this year, it will be even lower next year. I don't think it's going to be non-existent. I think your Drew Estate, your Rocky Patel, your General, your Altadis, they're still going to come by and see what kind of clients they can pick up or service. But I question. I'm not naming any names that have told me for certain that they are what they're doing. So I'm speculating at this point. But I would say that your Artistas, your Aganorsas, your Aladinos, your Uniteds, your Novas, a lot of those companies, they may take a good hard look at this. Because, I mean, look, Oliver is working the United booth. Terrence is working the Aganorsa booth. These guys have the whole country to bounce around. And if they've got a PCA coming up in 2 weeks, are they really going to have the time and effort and energy to dedicate to going and doing TPE, 2 weeks prior? I don't think so. So, so no, the date change is definitely going to impact the cigar presence at the show next year. But, we'll see. It's going to be a much smaller cigar presence next year versus this year. But, I guess that's the way that's going to have to show up with the calendar. I don't know. I assume TPE is going to attempt to shift back to January for 2027. But I do wonder if maybe the damage will be done and it'll just be what it is. Because I do think that there's been a little bit of a showdown. Perhaps I don't feel like it's necessarily intentionally, but a little bit of a showdown between the two shows. And I do think that at this point, I think PCA has pretty solidly said, we're the cigar show. You are the everything else show. Some cigar people can go and play at your show if they want to. We're not saying nobody, can. But, I do wonder. I do wonder. Anyway, so that's the other big thing that was the talk was the date change for next year. Why don't we now go ahead and jump into our next round of interviews? We've got interviews with Nova, Platinum Nova. We have Black Stogies and Ferio Tego. So we're here with Leo with Platinum Nova Cigars. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm happy. Second day on the TPE. No complaints.
No complaints.
Happy. New people, new faces.
And we're firing up a cigar. What have we got?
Football season.
It's football.
Football cigar.
Football. So, tell us. Well, I'll let you light up for a second. You got to get the cigar going.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that it's a real cigar.
It's really smoking. So, you guys, I wait. Oh my gosh, it's been a number of years ago. Had the football cigar that you guys came out with.
Yes.
You're still doing it, and it's even more yours than it ever was before.
Yes, because we have a trademark cigar. This particular shade, only Nova can make. That's it. No copy. It's trademark. And of course, we keep using the best tobacco. And I know you like it. I think so, yeah? Okay.
I'm lighting it. I like it. I'm getting it lit. Lighting the nipple. It's like a little nipple in the end. Lighting the nipple. So now you guys have been doing. You've been doing well, other than just with the football.
Yes.
You know, you've been racking up awards.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
That is something I would love to share with
Yes,
you.
talk about that.
We just come from the show Intertabac in Germany. First time we've been in Germany, and we win the best boutique brand from the Dominican Republic. Woo!
There you go.
Yeah, that is something put us in different places on the map, and we are so proud for what we're doing. The team is behind working with us very hard in Dominican Republic, in the United States, and that trophy coming from the consumer, because it's a vote from the consumer, put us like, okay, we really do something good.
Yeah.
And all the time, like always, we put the consumer first. We ask, you like it, you don't like it, what you guys expect from Nova. And that is a personal touch. We do it all the time.
Well, it's that little bit of validation that what you guys are doing is registering with the consumer, making a difference, and they're acknowledging it and making you guys an award winner. I think that's great.
It's like was something really great for us. Catch me by surprise. It's funny because when they call me, I go in the stage, and in Germany, everybody speaks Germany, English, and I'm starting to speak Spanish. And then on the end of the thing, in the stand, I go down and somebody comes to me and say, I don't have no idea what you're talking about, but you are the only one who speaks the tobacco list.
There you go.
Spanish, but yeah. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you, Nick.
Oh no, Leo, it's
And
always
I love
great.
your videos with my
We got the football. We're ready for Super Bowl with the football. You got to get yours. It's the Nova Champion football.
Yeah, and it's medium body cigar, Dominican filler, Dominican binder, Habano 2000 wrapper claro, and the oscuro in the design. If you like medium full, extra full, you're still gonna enjoy. And it's very unique cigar for this time of the year.
And it smokes for quite a while, as I recall. You get a lot of good smoke time out of this.
Oh yeah.
It's not a short smoke. You're last in the game with this cigar.
Yeah, but you know, I love the people see us to smoke this one. It's not a decoration cigar. It's a real cigar full of great Dominican tobacco.
There you go. Well, where can people find out more about Platinum Nova cigars?
Okay. First, I recommend go to your retail next to wherever you live. Ask for Nova. Ask for Nova. Say you want to try Nova. then push us to the retail come to us. But you still have the option to go to our website and find out all our line. We have cigars for everyone, different shape, different profile. We have 26 different blends. Each blend is one unique size, and that makes us a little bit different.
Yeah.
There
you go.
But yeah, definitely, if you never try Nova, ask for Nova. Go to your local retail and ask for Nova cigars. We're working so hard. We're working with passion for all of you. And you know that.
I know that. Leo, always great to see you. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, and we're here with Timothy with Black Stogie Cigars. How you doing?
I'm doing magnificent, man.
Dude, you and I have been trying to meet up for a while. I saw you were on the list for TPE. I'm like, I got to swing by and say hey. So, tell me about, because Luke, our man, my 635 millimeter.
That's right.
He's been trying to make this happen for a while. So tell us about the line.
Awesome. All right. So again, I'm Timothy from Black Stogies. We have 8 blends total today that we're displaying. We have our Oak City. We have our King Solomon. We have our Black Knight. We have our Black Onyx. We have our Professional Cut. We have our Chocolate Tie. We have our Mint Condition. And we have our Boss Hogs. All our cigars you see under the underlids, they are very significant to us and they have meaning behind everything. Check us out later. We'll let you know the meanings behind it. We have anything that ranges from a mild to a full body.
All right. And then what's your personal favorite? Do you have one that you're just like, you know what, this is mine? Or Is it hard to pick a child?
It's hard to pick a child, so it varies day to day. But if I had to pick my personal favorite,
all right, let me ask you this. Hold that thought. Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
All right, go. Breakfast, go with the Oak City.
Okay.
Lunch, I'll probably do the Black Onyx.
Okay.
Dinner, it's gonna be the Black Knight.
Okay. And dessert?
We're gonna go with the mint.
Now,
Mint edition.
is that minty?
It's a clean mint.
Okay.
It's a clean mint.
I like mint. So then, you were about to say, what's your favorite?
My favorite, I'm gonna go with the actual Oak City.
Oak City.
Oak City.
So you like I'm assuming, let me guess, kind of a nice, mild, smooth, creamy smoke?
That's it, exactly.
All right.
That's it.
Very good. Where can people find out more about Black Stogies?
They can find more about Black Stogies at our website, www.blackstogies.com. You can also find us on Instagram at Black Stogies, and you can find us on Facebook, Black Stogies Cigar Company.
Perfect. And we're here with Michael Herklotz of Ferio Tego. How you doing?
Fucking great.
There you go.
Absolutely great.
There you go. So, show been doing well for you?
It's great. Listen, get together with the industry, talk about the brand, smoke some cigars.
Can't complain.
Not a bad way to spend the day.
No, not at all. So you have something new to talk about, though.
We do. We have Metropolitan Petites. It's a trio. So we have the Metropolitan Connecticut, Metropolitan Maduro, and the Host. Mellow to medium-bodied. The Connecticut and Maduro, same blend, just different wrapper. The Host, slightly sweet cap, super smooth. They're in a 5-pack. The size is 4x34, so it's the perfect amount of time where you're not gonna. It's full cigar experience without full cigar time commitment.
Perfect.
Shipping next month.
I've been a big fan of the little Xenos in the tin, and these tend to remind me in that kind of like size range. And what's nice is you get, I don't know, 30 minutes, but you get that full cigar experience out of that little 30 minutes.
A lot of cigars this size, they're made by machine. They use homogenized tobacco. This is 100% tobacco. They're made by hand, so they smoke the way traditional large cigars smoke, just with less time. But they're delicious. They're so good.
Fantastic.
They're so good.
Anything else from Ferio Tego that we need to know about?
Man, look, we've had this conversation before. Ferio Tego is not the company that drops new things every month.
Exactly.
Ferio Tego is the company that delivers the same thing every month. And I think that's a refreshing take. It's not a novel idea, but it's an important part of our industry.
But you guys have been getting some awards, though, lately, is my point.
Ferio Tego Suma has been our newest blend in the market. It's been doing great. Cigar Aficionado's top 25 list. And if you really think about it,
should have been higher.
I don't disagree with
my opinion.
Much higher.
But
should have been much higher.
Should have been higher.
We're still new. When people are like, what's new? Like, Ferio Tego's new.
Exactly.
We're 3 years old. Last time I checked, that was still pretty new.
But I like the fact that you're getting the recognition for what you are putting out, because it's one of those things that, sometimes the little, the newer brands that maybe have the smaller catalog, it's like, okay, when you get bigger, it's like, but you're getting attention for what you are putting out already, and that's
because I think our blends are really standing out. We're not playing covers.
Yeah.
We're doing original work.
Yeah.
And so that takes a little longer to discover, but once you do, there's not a replacement. There's not an alternative. It's Ferio Tego. That's it.
There you go.
So I think, long term, we're doing it right,
Perfect. Well, where can everybody find out more about Ferio Tego?
Go to feriotego.com. You can follow us on all the socials at Ferio Tego or Michael Herklotz, either one.
Perfect.
We're easy to find.
There you go. Thank you so much for taking time out. Always good to see you. Okay, so now here's where I'm going to be speaking a little truth to power for a moment. This is where I need to have an uncomfortable conversation with the cigar industry, and I got to be blunt with you guys for a little bit. So I've talked about the red carpet and the blue carpet, and just kind of the general breakdown product-wise of the two. Now, this is where I got to be direct and say that we're talking about the vibe of the red carpet versus the blue carpet. Damn, guys, the cigar industry is just sleepy. It's sleepy. It's dull in comparison. Look, the red carpet, there were a few things that did stand out that I think people were trying. JM's cigar
I think it was just JM Cigar. They had a blackjack dealer at their table. And I'll tell you what, my group, I went out there with Noah and his wife and, Cherry. And the four of us, we went around the show floor all 3 days. And the thing I'll say is that we stopped at that blackjack booth all 3 days just because it was something fun to do. It was different. It was unique. It was interactive. They had a blackjack table with an actual blackjack dealer, and you could play blackjack. There was no buy-in. The first chip was complimentary, and then basically you would play. And you got 2 hands. If you won 2 hands, you won like a nice sampler. 3 hands, you won like a travel humidor that was made. It was a Cigar Bros 20 count humidor. It was made of like this like really solid styrofoam. It's a very interesting humidor. I don't remember what if you won 4 hands in a row, but if you won 5 hands in a row, you got all the prizes listed above. And every time you went by that table, it was in use. It was busy. Maybe not fully full, but a lot of times it was full. There was stuff going on there. They were drawing people in. They were interacting with you, and it was fun. But when you went by truly any other cigar booth, it was tables set up with product, sales guys standing there, and that was it. That was it. There was very little to draw you in and to get you excited and energized about coming and talking to them. Whereas when you went over under the blue carpet, you had just sensory overload to an extent. It was bright. It was colorful. There was all sorts of different things going on. It was sometimes it was loud. You had models on the show floor drawing people into booths, drawing them towards, taking them towards the salespeople. You had robot dogs. Somebody had like a couple of those robot dogs, which by the way, those things are fucking creepy as hell. But they had robot dogs, and they were running around. You had one booth that had a arcade video game. You had another booth that had a claw machine for prizes. You had, there was effort put in on the blue side. On the red side with the carpet, with the cigars, you could tell that it was put up the table, put up the cigars, hope we get some sales. The amount of effort just truly didn't equal what the blue side was doing. And this brings me kind of to a larger point. The blue side was more vibrant and alive. The red side seemed tired and old. And I'm going to now have a conversation that I feel like is just the start of a much larger conversation. I don't know who I want to have this conversation with, but I feel like this is where I have to start this conversation and move it forward. The simple fact of the matter is that I wonder if maybe the vibe between the red and the blue carpet is indicative of a larger problem that the cigar industry has, which is you guys, maybe we're just too damn boring and too up our own ass to see that we're not drawing in younger generational people. It is not uncommon that when I go to a cigar lounge to have a cigar, I am the youngest one there. And I'm 43 years old, guys. That's not a good thing. There has to be younger people. I'm not saying there aren't younger people getting into it. My show demographics show that there are younger people getting into, or at least willing to be interested enough in cigars. I have the demographic data through Spotify to show that 22 to 34-year-olds listen to my show. So like I have a good demographic of people that are younger, that are at least interested in enough to be subscribed to and listening to a cigar podcast. But when you go to, and granted, this is a trade show, so maybe it's just a matter of the retailers aren't. But I would think that if the if the retailers had the younger customers, they would be over on the red carpet purchasing product to supply to those younger customers. And I guess my whole issue is that, or I guess where I'm getting at this is it feels like, and I need to work on compiling some data and pulling together some hard facts here, but guys, it feels like the and maybe it's the new flavor, maybe it's the new shiny object and everybody's attracted to it, but the pot and the CBD and all that other crap, it's eating your lunch. And, you got to have those next generations to come in. Right now, a lot of shops are still living large on the Oliva, Fuente, Davidoff generation. Guys that remember the cigar boom of the 90s and, that sort of thing. And maybe there's a generation behind them that is enjoying it too. But you start getting too much past that. Those groups are getting smaller and smaller. And when one of those generations, as happens just because of nature, I'm not wishing anybody ill, but if nature takes its course, and as one of those generations falls away, you got to have another generation coming up behind them that's going to be interested in this hobby and this artisan, community. And I just think that it feels like there's not enough being done to reach out to those younger generations to say, hey, look, we have really great products too. They are fantastic for forced relaxation. They are unique. They're artisan. They're cool. You need to try them. The problem is, there's so many problems. It feels like they're not being catered to. Additionally, you got prices going up every fucking year. I mean, it's like every single year you got prices going up. And I don't know if it's a situation where, yes, costs obviously are rising, in various places. Tariffs aren't going to help that in any way. But on the flip side of that, do we really need to be having, really expensive cigars? Because I don't feel like really expensive products are going to help anybody. All that feels like is, we've lost X amount of sales last year, so let's put out a really limited edition thing this year and charge, $100, $200, $750 for it. And then at that point, if we sell X amount of that, it'll recoup, the percentage of the amount that we lost from last year. That you're trying to sell less but make the same amount or more, and that's ultimately a losing game. I don't know. Well, let's be real. That's what Cuba's doing. They're making less cigars, but they have to meet a certain threshold, for sales. So they're charging more for what they're making. I don't know. I just something needs to be done. There needs to be a big shakeup, because right now the only brand that I would say that is doing their part to reach out to younger generations and really draw them in and get them interested in premium cigars is Drew Estate. I feel like Drew Estate is with their vibe and everything. But what's funny about that is, Jonathan Drew is how old, and the people in charge of Drew Estate are how old? I mean, and it's, whatever. It's like, I mean, but they've managed to they've found a way to make it cool, and we all acknowledge it. We all say, oh, most people jump into cigars by trying the flavored infused stuff, or acid is one of the biggest sellers, because, so many people that aren't even cigar smokers, will try an acid and things of that nature. What is it that guys, when a woman is interested in smoking a cigar, what's the first thing that crosses your mind? Oh, let's get them a flavored infused, let's get them an acid to try as their gateway, their thing into it. We all acknowledge, we all respect, and we all understand that Drew Estate is kind of that brand that brings people in. We may not want to, some of us may have issues acknowledging that. Some of us may not want to say that. And look, I'm not saying that Drew Estate is the best brand out there, but what I will say is I do feel like they're doing the best job of bringing new people to the table. And from there, those people either do or don't expand their palate and go elsewhere to find other things to try. I don't know. It's definitely something to be considered. So I feel like we're on the edge of, or I feel like we're in need of a really big shakeup. And I don't know where that shakeup comes in. I don't know if it's the next generation coming in, because, we have some next generations that are going to be stepping up. We have Nicholas Perdomo III. We have the Aroa sisters over at Aladino. We have Epicure's daughter. We have Al McAuliffe's daughter. We have Rick Rodriguez's daughter. We have the Casada daughters. I mean, there's so many younger folks that are on the edge of taking on, companies. And I feel like I'm curious as to where they're going to go with it, because I feel like there's a lot there. I feel like there's a lot that needs to be done. But with that being said, it's fairly obvious when you're at a trade show that features both cigars and the other stuff, where all of the excitement and energy is right now. And I feel like that the cigar industry needs to take a hard look at itself, and it needs to probably explore those blue carpet areas a little bit. Go wander, take a walk. You don't have to like the product to like the marketing and the outreach that these companies are doing, in order to get ideas. I mean, go and look at some of these booths and say, hey, that was at least interesting enough to get me to stop and look at their booth. Why did that get me to stop and look at their booth? And is there a way I can tweak what they did and make it relevant to my booth so that people will stop and look at my booth when walking the red carpet in the same way that I just stopped and looked at that booth on the blue carpet? I think that that's the kind of stuff that needs to be considered and needs to be done. And it's not comfortable. It's potentially, for some people, it can be very disruptive. But I think there's a way to both celebrate the history and the artisanship of cigars, while at the same time livening it up and having a fucking party. Because these are fun products to enjoy. I mean, if you're sitting around and you're not enjoying the cigar that you're smoking and it's a chore, then why the hell are you doing it? It's just not the way it should be. Says the guy who has a cigar that's gone out because he's talking too much. Anyway, but that's the thing. I feel like this is a conversation I want to continue. Again, I don't know who to continue it with. But guys, buckle up, because I'm going to have this conversation with some people over the course of this year. I think this is definitely something that I think needs to be considered, needs to be looked at. I think we need to start. I think as an industry, It needs to start getting more creative and needs to start drawing people in more. You know, one thing I'll give credit where credit's due. And it may sound like kissing ass. I've said for a long time that Dave Garofalo at Two Guys, he throws shit at the wall just to see if it sticks. He will do a breakfast for dinner event twice. Once it fails, and then he does it a second time just to see, was it the circumstances that caused it to fail, or was it the idea that just was a dud? And ultimately, the idea was a dud. But the bottom line was he did it twice just to see. He does a fucking meatball competition, and it turns into, you know, a annual event that is talked about at trade shows in Las Vegas. You know, like seriously, like I had conversations with people about the meatball in Las Vegas. I mean, you know, it's goofy shit. He does all kinds of things to get his customers engaged and interested in what's going on at his shop. And, you know, that needs to happen more at the retail level. The retailer needs to get the customers engaged and excited about this stuff as well. This is not just on the manufacturers. On the flip side of things, I feel like at the trade shows, the manufacturers need to take a page from Garofalo and find a way to make the booth itself an engaging, fun environment to draw in the retailers. Just like the retailer is trying to engage, draw in, and keep the consumers happy, I feel like the manufacturers need to do the same with the retailers at the trade shows. And ultimately, that's going to create that excitement level that will be able to be engaging enough to draw in new consumers. Because, you know, nobody, you know, I don't like going to shit by myself. You know, it's like I'll do it, but if, let's say, my local cigar shop is having trivia night, or let's say they brought in midget wrestling, and not for just a big annual party, but maybe they're having midget wrestling just for I don't know why they would, for the shit of it, but let's say they were. Am I going to bring somebody with me, or am I going to go by myself? I'm going to try, at the very least, I'm going to try to bring somebody with me so that I have somebody to go with and interact with and have fun with. And so, you know, that's the thing, is that if we can just start branching forward and expanding out and having some fun, I feel like the tent grows larger and more people come into the tent. I don't know if that made any sense at all, but that was something that had been milling around in my head at the show, and I had a conversation the other day with somebody about this, and it kind of all gelled a little bit. But anyway, I yes. So for what it's worth, I do feel like there needs to be I do feel like there needs to be an infusion of fun in order to really liven shit up. Because right now, you know, we all talk about how, oh, that box looks really great because it's got all this color and it can be seen amongst the sea of brown. Well, right now the cigar industry is a sea of brown, and I'm looking for some color to pop up and to really like shine. And it's going to take a little bit, but I think it's feasible. I think it's very much feasible. I think it's there, but that's what I'm looking for. Anyway, enough about that. Let's jump into the next group of interviews. This one, we are going to hear from Altadis USA. We're going to hear from Artista, and we're going to hear from La Aurora. And we're here with Oliver with Altadis. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very good. So, what do we have to highlight here?
Yeah, so one of the featured products of TPE this year is the Aging Room La Boheme.
Okay.
And a lot of people may have been familiar with La Boheme. It was a line that Raphael launched probably like over 10 years ago, but brought the name back under the Aging Room brand umbrella. This is a really special cigar, new luxury cigar, made in Nicaragua by AJ Fernandez, and it features a U.S. broadleaf wrapper that has extra fermentation. So very rich, very oily, very flavorful. So yeah, we just started shipping it yesterday. So
it's a very elegant looking box with the blue and the gold, and then the picture and everything. I mean, it's very, very pretty.
Yeah,
right?
It speaks to a lot of like, you know, Cuban heritage culture, La Boheme, you know, like the play, and just a lot of artisanal approach. But yeah, the cigar is really excellent. It's going to be a medium to full, really rich in flavor. But they did a great job on the cigar, and we have different sizes. And one of the fun sizes there is called the Mimi. It's a little guy over there, but it's just a fun little size that Raphael wanted to bring back that was a staple in the previous one.
I like that. You know, the little short 30-minute. I mean, you probably. Although with that, you might get more than 30 minutes. I don't know.
Like, I know it's got lots of rich smoke, but the wrapper's quite, you know, it's quite a thick, oily wrapper, so it doesn't burn as quickly as you would think. But just tons of flavor, very rich. So yeah, we're excited about the launch of this.
Very good, very good. Yeah. And then obviously you and I, before we were talking, it's over there, so we won't have to walk with the wires.
We can walk if you want, but
you know, obviously there was the re-release of the Henry Clay Warhawk Rebellious. All my listeners know that I'm a huge fan of that cigar, but you were telling me that if you find it, you better snap it up.
Yeah, so we launched it, you know, like 3 or 4 years ago. We did a short run. It was very well received. We sold out, and we were able to get more of the tobacco, so we did bring it back at the end of last year. We only made 4,000 boxes, and we've been selling through them pretty well. So yeah, if you find a store that has them, definitely get them up where you can. But well received. We only make one size, a 54x6 Toro. It's made also in Nicaragua by AJ Fernandez. Our regular Warhawk also does well.
And I'm a fan of that, but that Rebellious just has that extra little like oomph to it.
It does. It's a stronger cigar. The original one is made in Honduras, features an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, and it's one of the highest rated portfolio brands. It was top 10 cigar of the year, 95 rated. So yeah, it's very different than the original, but the Rebellious does very well. So
very good. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on, obviously we have the Monte Cristo. You know, the 1935. You guys are getting a lot of really good attention with that. I saw that was what, number 2 on Cigar Aficionado's list?
What was amazing was it was the highest rating we've ever had, 97 rating. And what's great about that line, I think 3 of the 6 sizes we sell, they've all been rated 93 or higher. So it's one of the most award-winning brands in our entire portfolio. So we launched that in 2020, and yeah, it was the espresso size that won number 2 cigar of the year, and it's a 5.5x60 box press, which is great. But yeah, we're featuring that, and then its sister, the Diamante, which is also very nice. So.
Well, where can people find out more information about your cigars?
Yeah, I mean, probably the best place for consumers right now would probably be on our social media and Instagram. We have our Monte Cristo Romeo A. Chapman Aging Room pages, as well as the Cigar Lifer. And then go to the Altadis USA website. It also has more information about our brands. Probably the social media pages probably find out more. So.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking time out. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
All right.
So we're joined today by Kevin from Artista Cigars. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm really good.
It's Friday morning.
I feel like I have a hangover, but I didn't drink last night.
See, I didn't either. I'm just tired.
Just exhausted from all the fun here at TPE.
Well, I'm glad we caught you before, the music started, and then at that point, we couldn't hear you at all.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, it's been very loud at your booth, but we got you. So anyway, talk about Artista Cigars. What's going on?
Well, Artista Cigars, you probably know this. We've been around since 1956.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah. I'm almost 70 years in the business.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. We've been rolling cigars in the Dominican Republic and growing leaf, and now we're the largest tobacco leaf grower in the Caribbean.
Very cool.
A couple years ago, we decided to come out with some of our own stuff. I mean, we've got all this great leaf. We're trading with everybody.
Yeah.
And that's how you get Artista cigars.
Okay.
The factory name is Tabacalera El Artista, which is a mouthful for a gringo like me. So we shortened it.
Well, you said it. I'm not going to attempt.
Give it a shot, Nick.
Dude, I'm tired. I'm tired. Anyway, so you guys, for my listeners, a lot of them know the Buffalo 10.
Yes, sir.
And then, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys make the Big Poppy cigar as well.
We do.
Yes.
Yeah, really proud to be working with David.
Yeah. But what else do we have that you want to highlight?
Well, I mean, I'm tethered in a little bit, but we'll go first with Paperboy. Now,
See, this is appropriate because I own a newspaper.
You own a newspaper.
I own
exactly.
a newspaper.
Exactly. We should have hit you up to print that newsprint.
I can get some for you.
That'd be fantastic.
I can make that happen.
But maybe we could put some ads in there for Cigar Pulpit.
I mean, we could totally do that. We could talk about some reciprocal advertising. There we go. But okay. But first, let's talk about the cigar.
All right. Well, Paperboy is a 4x44 Petite Corona. Comes in a tray like this, which is kind of cool. You got little singles up front and some 8-packs in the back. You get 1 cigar for every day plus 2 on Sunday.
Love it.
Just like old school newspapers,
right?
right?
The Sunday edition's bigger.
Exactly
I
right.
love it. I love it.
We've got it in a Maduro, it's a San Andres,
Yeah.
and then we have it in a Ecuadorian Connecticut as well.
Also right there.
Same blend
Yeah.
between the two, a little bit of Dominican, a little bit of Nicaraguan, and a little bit of Colombian tobacco in there as well. Of course, it's going to be a little bit because it's a tiny little cigar.
Yeah. But it's good for like walking the dog or,
great.
Lunch break.
Exactly.
See, that's the thing. I was talking with somebody, Noah and I were talking about this the other day, that a lot of new smokers came in during COVID, or at least maybe they were once a week, but then they became daily smokers since they were at home and they were working from home and, they were able to smoke more during COVID.
Right.
Well, now that everybody's going back to the office, they still want to be able to smoke, but what are they going to smoke? Well, if you have a lunch hour, a Paperboy is plenty of time for you to have a
smoke.
cigar and a sandwich and go back to your desk.
Exactly right.
Love it. Love it. Okay.
In addition to that,
Yeah.
we've got the Artista right here, which is our flagship product.
Okay.
We have it in 3 different blends. I'm a little proud of this. I want to share it. I'll share it with you first because I don't
Okay.
think I've told anybody in media.
Love it.
Cigar Journal just gave us a top 25 for 2024 on the Falu.
Fantastic.
Number 14 in the list.
That's great.
Yeah. It's actually kind of cool for us.
No,
we're
that's
really
really
excited.
cool.
Being who we are and what we do, getting
Well,
that
and I
type of
think that
industry
one
recognition.
really, I don't know. I really love the Cigar Journalist. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, no.
I like the Cigar Journalist the best. Let's put it that way.
They're really good folk.
Yeah.
Be honest with you. I've worked with a lot of folks. They're great.
Good. I love hearing
Artista Midnight.
Yeah.
That one actually it has the top 25 of 2023 as well. So, we got a couple hitters here. And then we have the Harvest. So the Falu is Connecticut broadleaf from the Amish in Pennsylvania. The Midnight is a dark Ecuadorian Habano from our farms in Ecuador.
Okay.
Only about 1% of the crop will come out that dark because, Ecuador's got a lot of clouds.
Yeah.
We actually hand select all those leaves ourselves because we have the sorting facilities to do that and grade everything, and then the stuff that makes it for wrapper gets it right here.
Perfect.
And then the Artista Harvest it's a little bit of a sleeper, man. It's Indonesian Sumatra right there.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of nutmeg, a little bit
Yeah.
of cinnamon, a little bit of honey.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, where can people find out more about Artista Cigars?
All our social channels, which is Artista Cigars, of course, on Instagram, Facebook, maybe even MySpace. I don't know. OnlyFans, though, maybe.
That's where you get more about the Midnight, right?
Yeah, or
it's
the Fugly.
Oh, the See, I like that. That's good. That's
or,
good.
you hit up artistascigars.com or just type it into Google. You're going to see a lot of reviews from a lot of folks.
All right.
Mostly good.
Mostly good.
Yeah.
That's good. We want mostly good. Well, we want really good, but yeah. So, all right. Well, perfect. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for taking time
Mr.
out.
Nick.
I really do appreciate it. Thank you. And we're here with Willie from La Aurora Cigars. How you doing, man?
Good, and you, sir? Thank you for
Fantastic.
coming.
No, thank
How you doing,
you for
everybody?
having
Willie
us.
Morante with La Aurora Cigars, and welcome to TPE 2025 and the infamous La Aurora booth. This year, we're displaying our 100 años. It's back in its new packaging. Back in 2003, we launched this cigar to celebrate the 100 years of the factory. In 2004, Cigar Aficionado called it the #2 cigar, and it was dubbed the best Dominican cigar in the world. And we have re-released it now in its new packaging. So we have
gorgeous boxes.
4 offerings, 3 offerings in Dominican Corojo, and 1 offering in a Connecticut broadleaf. So you have a Churchill, Robusto, and Bellicoso, and obviously the Robusto Maduro. Come by booth 12101 if you're still around. Let's make a deal.
Perfect. And where can people find out more about La Aurora Cigars?
Crazy notion.
Okay.
LaAuroraCigars.com.
Perfect. Nice and easy. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
taking
much for
time
being
out,
here.
man.
Enjoy.
Appreciate it. All right. We're back, and with my final, well, we got another little break here, and then I got one more interview still to come up. But I want to talk a little bit about product diversity at this show. And boy, you know, when they say Total Product Expo, they are definitely not joking there. This year was quite different than even last year. Every year it seems like the blue carpet side, like more different stuff comes along. It used to be before that, you know, I would learn about Delta 8 and Delta 9, and that's all these different variation, chemical variations of like THC, but it's not THC, but that's what made it okay to be able to be sold in states that didn't allow for the recreational cannabis and things of that nature. But then, you know, it started expanding, and the last couple of years there were different types of toes in the water as it pertained to like mushroom gummies. You had different types of mushrooms, you know, that were legal and not the you know, psychedelic ones that apparently aren't. But there were all kinds of different products. I mean, the last couple of years, there's been a booth there that sells exotic snacks from different countries from all around the world. I tried some Oreos, strawberry Oreos from China. Fucking great, by the way. I want to point that out. But this year, the product diversity was even deeper, I would say. And as I was saying, they crept onto the red carpet. They did not have sole ownership of just the blue carpet. I feel like it's because the cigar industry just wasn't enough to fill the red carpet space, and so they had to bring in some blue carpet vendors onto the red carpet. For example, the booth closest to the media lounge, or one of the booths closest to the media lounge, was a company that sold a product called Fatwoods, and the logo looked like Backwoods, you know, the little gas station cigars, but it was Fatwood, P-H-A-T Woods, and it had like this cartoon monkey that was obviously high, and they were selling flat out. They were selling pre-roll. I don't even want to call these things joints. They were fucking huge. They're about as big as like a Backwoods, and they had the cannabis in the joint, but then there were these little crystal things that when you would hit these crystals, it was like an infusion, like a burst of like extra pot goodness or whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't even know, but anyway, so that was there. But what initially attracted me to that booth was a big sign featuring that they had fetish urine, and I'm like, what in the hell is that? And that's apparently how they had to market it. I guess technically it's a product that assists people with passing drug tests. They have different chemicals underneath that banner that also, you know, supposedly flush shit from your system quicker. Bottom line is, yeah, they have this fetish urine there. There was a booth that was right at the break between the red carpet and the blue carpet along the center aisle that sold. They were selling sex dolls and dildos and all sorts of various, you know, adult playthings. You know, there was the snack people were there, the sign people were there, more vapes than you could possibly imagine. You know, like I said, the mushroom gummies, you know, they were back, and this time there's some new variations that give you the same sensation as the magic mushrooms, but are like a chemical derivative, and so that allows them to be sold in states that don't allow for the magic mushrooms. You know, in years past, you could get cannabis derivatives and similar products, but you weren't getting actual like legit like straight up just pot, right? Not this year. This year there were plenty of booths with samples of what I have now learned is like when you buy or when you get like the little bud, whatever, I'm very ignorant to this. I learned some, but like this is definitely not my world. They call it flour. And so like there are people walking around getting samples of legit flour this year at TPE. That is not something you ever saw in the past. And I don't even know how that's we're dealing with a level of legality here that I don't understand. Like I said, I was there for the cigar stuff. I explored the blue carpet just because, it's Friday. You've got time. You've spent as much time on the red carpet as you can. You might as well see what else is around. But yeah, it's crazy. And what I'll definitely say is that TPE as an organization, as a trade show, man, they're leaning hard into the blue carpet stuff. It is super obvious where the money is and where the interest level of attendees is at, based upon where they are drawing in vendors. And the blue carpet is definitely, what they're interested in. And, maybe that leads back to all the previous discussion. Maybe the lack of vibrancy on the red carpet amongst the vendors, and the PCA dates and everything being a thing. Maybe that's why TPE is saying, you know what, cigars, we're going to do our thing. If you want to tag along and be a part of it, that's awesome. Otherwise, we're going to do our thing. It kind of gives, and maybe this is my impression. I don't want to say this is what's happening, but my impression is kind of a situation where TPE is saying, we're going to do our thing. If you're along for it, come along for the ride. Otherwise, we really don't care. We're doing fine without you. And so we can fill that space if we need to. So we really don't care. One way that was kind of indicative of that to me, so I went to the industry night party on Wednesday night. And when I say I went to it, I was there 10 minutes. I mean, it was long enough for us to go in, to get a drink at the bar, walk up the stairs of the so it was a 2-level nightclub at Caesar's Palace. We walked up the stairs, but then if you were cigars, they push you outside. And there was like a patio, like balcony area. And admittedly, they had the tall propane heaters. But the cigar people were basically pushed outside into the cold. And that's where they were at. And inside was where everybody was dancing and getting drinks and hanging out, sitting down. There were not ashtrays at tables in the nightclub, like nobody was, if you, I guess my point is, if you could smoke in the nightclub, smoke a cigar, they did everything in their power to make it appear as though you could not, so that you stayed out in the cold. They pushed us out into the cold. And so we walked out there. We saw that there were no seats. It's not like there was excessive seating out there. It was a sea of people standing around, trying to stay warm. And because you gotta realize, like Vegas, for the period of time we were out there, I think the warmest day was maybe Friday, and then on Friday I think it got to like 57 or 58 as a high. By this point in the evening, it's in the 30s. It's not like it's like warm. But anyway, so we're out there, and we went back inside, we finished the drinks, we left, and we went to the Monte Cristo Lounge. And we beat the cigar rush to the Monte Cristo Lounge because we got there because we got to the party right at 9 pretty much when it started, like very close to 9 when it started. And my God, the amount of security to get in there. This is the first year I've gone to the industry party when it's being held at Caesars. It was there last year. I didn't go last year. The year prior, it was at the Sahara. There was no security at the Sahara. And I'll also point out, there was a nice buffet at the Sahara where they were carving up like prime rib and you had like a really nice dinner. There was none of that at the party this year. I mean, there was no food. It was what it was. But, I mean, my God, the security guy, I mean, he he was thorough. Let's put it that way. He was very, very thorough. A lot of wanding, a lot of patting down, whatever. So I don't know if they've had issues at that nightclub before or if they're wanting to prevent issues or what the deal is, but it was a thing. And I actually saw one guy having an issue getting a cigar cutter into the place. I did not. I had a little plastic cutter with me, and that did not cause any issues. But there was one gentleman who was definitely having an issue with the security guard about him being allowed to bring his cigar cutter into the lounge or to the nightclub for the party, and so it was just a really different vibe in that regard, and it wasn't fun. The party was not my scene. I'm old though, so maybe 21-year-old Nick would have enjoyed that. I don't think so because I remember 21-year-old Nick, and he was not into the dance party. Like, hey, what's going on? The Roxbury shit. But yeah, it was a different vibe. Monte Cristo Lounge was great though. I did have a really good time at the Monte Cristo Lounge, and shout out to those guys. I mean, it's not a cheap place by any means, but it's extraordinarily comfortable, and I think they do a good job at being a nice little oasis within Caesar's Palace. But anyway, why don't we now go ahead and hear our last interview with Bobby Newman of JC Newman. Gotta love Bobby. The man can talk. He just, you go at it and you're like, yeah, man, we're going to be 2 or 3 minutes. 24 minutes later, we have concluded our conversation. So anyway, yes, so we have a nice, healthy conversation with Bobby Newman. And after that, we will be back with my final thoughts on TPE, and then we'll move this show forward. And we are joined by Bobby Newman of JC Newman Cigars. How you doing?
Wonderful. It's so good to see you.
Very great to see you, as always.
Thank you for bringing your beautiful entourage.
I'm rolling 4 deep this time. It's very nice.
Well, I love it.
I got to have my crew. So, there's been a lot going on with JC Newman. You guys are getting awards left and right. Why don't we talk about some of that?
Well, thank you. Last year we got the award at Dortmund Intertabac. It's the largest premium cigar show. Let me talk to you, or should I look at the camera?
You can talk to me. You can talk to the camera. You can talk wherever you want to.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Meredith. My first wife. They're 33 years. So my brother you think you've heard of every award.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in Dortmund Intertabac. It's the largest premium cigar show. It's outside of Dusseldorf, and it's like an international show.
Yeah.
We met with over 60 of our importers from around the world, and the first night they have an award ceremony, and we got an award for the best American handmade cigar. It happens to be called the American Growth.
Yeah.
And also they're talking at the last award. They said there's a family that's been in the business over 100 years, and there's 2 brothers in the business. This is their 100th year together. I'm thinking, I wonder who that is. And they said, so we got that, and it was a wonderful honor. So, and I said the same thing. I'll tell you and tell the audience and your beautiful entourage that of the 100 years that we've been in the business, 90 of the years have been challenge years.
Yeah.
Because of the FDA. I'm old enough to remember we lost the Cuban embargo.
Yeah.
We lost the rights to buy Cuban tobacco.
You still have a little, though.
I've seen it in the
That's right.
basement of El Reloj.
Absolutely.
I was
You're
gonna
right. Yeah, we have one bale left. It's from the crop from the 1958 Piñol del Rio, which is the western side of the island where they grow all the wrappers.
Yeah.
And and I tell you, but we've been able to survive when President Obama came in. The first bill he passed was the Family Tobacco Prevention Act, and it regulated for the first time in the history of America any tobacco product that was considered carcinogenic, and then which was cigarettes and roll your own and smokeless. And the FDA said, well, let's just regulate everything. So we from 2009 until 2022, we were battling the FDA.
Yeah.
And so we got deregulated by Judge Maida, which was a miracle.
Well, and your company and Drew specifically,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you guys were head of that fight. I mean, you were like right there on the front lines fighting for everybody.
And the reason why, good and bad, but we had the only cigar factory in the United States.
Yeah.
So we had dozens of federal fundraisers, sir, and we had Mitch McConnell there, and Marco Rubio, the new Secretary of State, was there multiple times, and so we had, because of that, we were able to show congressmen, U.S. congressmen, and senators that we're not big tobacco.
Yeah.
These are not habit forming. When you can smoke one cigar and not smoke it for a month or 2 months or whatever.
Well, and even the machine-assisted ones that you guys do in your factory, those, I mean, they're still handmade to an extent with the machine assist and everything, but you're not banking out like tons and tons and tons a day. I mean, it's still a handmade, artisan process.
No, exactly, and so we were very blessed. The FDA lied to the federal court, and they said it was what the FDA did to the federal court. They were audacious, capricious, and I think they said audacious. I didn't know. There's two words. I have to look it up in my.
Judicious or well, yeah, I remember.
But they lied because it was their own study.
Yeah.
Because FDA did the study, and they concluded through the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, the average American cigar smoker smokes 1.7 premium cigars a month, and that will not affect mortality. You will not live longer, but you will not live less.
Yeah.
And we got deregulated, and then a year later, the Department of Justice, led by the FDA, said, let's go back and try to reverse that. And we just found out 2 weeks ago, as you know, the appellate court in the District of Columbia agreed with Judge Maida's decision. And of course, the FDA, they can come back tomorrow and try to regulate us.
Yeah.
So one thing we learned from this, our family and the entire premium cigar industry, you have to be, if you have a service in the United States, if you import or you manufacture this orange ribbon, if you don't have a voice in Washington, you'll get run over. Yeah. We learned that we don't want to become an unintended consequence. Also, there's a saying in Washington that if you don't have a seat at the table, you'll be on the menu.
Yeah.
And so we it woke up a sleeping giant. I'll tell you that.
Well, good. Ever vigilant. That's the way you got to act. At this
it
point,
is just like our wonderful military, and but it certainly. I will spend the rest of my life, and Drew will, and our kids will, being very active in Washington and the state of Florida as well.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you've got a very cigar-friendly state in Florida, but you can't take that for granted because all it takes is
exactly.
a few changes. So
exactly. So we had you were talking earlier, Nick. We've been blessed. Cigar Aficionado named our brick house a 93 rating. It retails for $8.85.
Yeah.
I tell you, I got a quick story. So in the rating, it was rated the 10th best cigar in the world. And right two cigar ratings below was the famous the Cohiba Esplendido that retails for $110
there
in
you
Canada. Go. And so we're all about value.
Yeah.
And we want to give the best. We make the best cigar we can. But we want to do it at a fair value.
No, for sure.
So we've been very fortunate. But again, we've been like everyone else, been up and down. This is the goal, not because what President Trump said, the golden age, but I said this long before. Since COVID, this has become the golden age of cigars. COVID was a disaster for the world. It killed millions of people, but it brought in millions or hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of new consumers. Who knew people would stay home and smoke cigars and drink?
I know,
their
right?
Favorite beverage. And it brought in.
But it's nice.
No, it is. It brought in a level of interest of cigars. Where cigarettes are going down.
Yeah.
And I know this is a public forum, but Altria, Phil Morris, they want to get out of the cigarette business, and they're coming back with like Zen, the nicotine pouches, and so forth. And so we're on the right side of the aisle, so to speak.
Very good, very good. And then, so obviously we talked about the Brick House.
Right.
The other cigar that I love that you guys put out, it seems to be kind of a maybe semi-annual release, is the Yagua.
Yagua.
Love the Yagua so much.
That is our co-plant manager in Nicaragua, Lazaro Lopez, was explaining when he was a little boy growing up in Cuba, his grandfather used to roll cigars, no molds, and he would put them in Yagua. Well, what's the Yagua? The Yagua is Spanish for the Yagua is what a Spanish palm, as it grows up, it throws off. It's like a bark.
Yeah.
It's green when it falls off, and it lays on the ground, and it slowly turns from a deep green color to like a light brown color, and it's full of moisture. So Lazaro's grandfather would roll the cigars, and he'd put them in the Yagua. He put twine around it and
tie them off.
Tie up tight.
Yeah.
And so he kept them there, kept them humid, aged them, and when you open the Yagua, the cigars were misformed. Some of them were 3 sides, some of them were 4 sides.
I always love, like, I tend to buy it by the box when I find it, because it's one of those things that when you see it, you got to get it.
Yeah.
But also, when I do find like singles, like if I go to a shop and they have it by the single, I always like to dig around in the box to find the most uniquely shaped one, the different one, because that's part of the fun of that cigar.
It is. It's a Connecticut broadleaf tobacco, and when we started rolling it probably 5 years ago, so we usually age cigars in Nicaragua about 4 months, 4 to 5 months. So we tasted after 3 months, it was awful. Tasted after 6 months, it was awful. 9 months, something was wrong with it. Then after 12 months, we smoked it. It was like the best cigar you've ever had. So something in the aging process obviously helps it. So now we age a minimum of a year to 14 months.
Okay.
And we bring in about 2,500 boxes a year. It's only 50,000 cigars.
Yeah.
So we bring in 1,250 to 1,300 boxes, and we allocate. We give our regional sales manager an allocation, and they still sell it out in a day.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of fun. A great cigar. It's very successful. Funny, when we came out with it, my brother and I set the prices, and we're looking. We don't make as much money probably on our cigars as we should, but at Eric said, let's set it at $6.85. I said, let's just go to $7.
Yeah.
And I'd never been in the business. This is my 50th year in the business, and this is my brother's like 54th year in the business now, or 53rd. Anyway, people were complaining to us. They loved the cigar, but they said, it's too cheap. You should be selling for $10. So today it sells for $10.
There you go.
Cigars.
There you go.
But we had the boxes. I had nothing to do with it, but the box is so unique.
It is.
And we've had a really a wonderful time. Another thing too, we're focusing on beside Brickhouse is also the Diamond Crown.
I was just about to circle up on that.
The major redo, and I gave you one of the Diamond Crown. I'm talking to you, the beautiful entourage. Does someone have the Diamond Crown?
The Diamond Crown.
I'd like to show them this because wonderful graphics department led by Tyler, and this is the way it turned out is absolutely
There's so much going on. You have the like kind of gold flecks going on in the surrounding there. There's all and the red in the crown there and everything. I mean, it's a very, very beautiful band.
It pops out.
Yeah.
It was in at the time. Our father, this is Dad's idea. This is a 54 ring gauge cigar.
Okay.
And at the time, the largest cigar made in the world was 52.
Okay.
So my father was very innovative.
So you guys had the first Gordo.
Yeah. 54.
There you go.
And Eric and I said, well, Dad, what if somebody wants a thinner cigar? My father said, let him buy someone else's. and in a very stern tone.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to come out, he was for his 80th birthday, which is coincidentally our 100th anniversary, 1995. He said, I want to come out with a cigar. We didn't have a hand cigar making factory. Arturo Fuente make all of our Dominican cigars. So Dad went to Carlito and Carl Sr. And he said, we want to make it as perfect as possible. Dad said, I don't care what it costs. I don't care if we sell any. Before I die, I want to do this. I said, okay, Dad.
There you go.
And so in Carlito, he's quoted in that I made the cigar from a man I love. And of course, he loves his father, loved his dad too. But we've had a lot of fun with this, and the boxes are beautiful. It's behind me, the beautiful, gorgeous white box.
Yeah.
So, thank you. It's made up.
But the packaging and the art on the band and everything, it's so nice.
Well, thank you. Very, very proud of it. So, we are obviously going around the country and promoting Diamond Crown. We have a very strong stable of brands from the Diamond Crown and Brickhouse and Prola de Mar, and then in the value section we have the Quorum.
Yeah.
We sold 17 million sticks last year. It's the number one selling. It's the number one selling Nicaraguan cigar in the world, just as a brand as far as that. And so we have the Havana Q, and we have the factory throwouts, and it's a terrible name. And people, where the heck is factory the throwout name? Back in the 80s, Walgreens was the number one seller of cigars.
Yeah.
And they had a brand called, it was made by United States Tobacco Company, the Skull in Copenhagen. They had a cigar division called House of Windsor, and they had a cigar. It was called Palma Throwouts.
Okay.
And it was a 4-pack, and it wasn't a throwout. It was priced so low. People thought this must be like a second.
Okay.
And it was one of their top-selling cigars. So we borrowed the name. So we call ours Factory Throwouts. Like I say, terrible name, but there's only two types of cigars: those that sell and those that don't.
And those ones sell.
Yeah, we sold 14 million sticks last year. And
wow.
So it's all good. But you know, we've been very fortunate. But we also, it's very important if you're successful in life. If you're not successful in life, you should give back. If you're healthy, But we've started. Eric and Carlito started the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation, and then back in 2006, we started the Pause for Patriots program under Southeastern Guide Dogs.
Yeah, that's your baby
that's my
there.
baby.
Yeah, I was saying.
And we changed the name last year to Dogs Inc. because we're no longer. It's outside of Sarasota, Florida.
Okay.
Has everyone heard? You know where Sarasota is?
I
Florida?
mean, give or take.
Yes, it's on the west coast. It's about 50 miles south of Tampa on the west coast of Florida.
Yeah.
And the Ringling Brothers, the Ringling Museum, the Ringling Brothers started the circus there about 100 years ago. And we gave her 1,000th service dog out in March of last year. And in a time where 22 to 50 Americans, veterans, are committing suicide, we've not lost one single person to suicide.
That's fantastic.
Because of the power of the animals.
Yeah.
Highly trained. Takes 2 years and $80,000, minimum $80,000 to train them.
Wow.
So we have a wonderful CEO of Dogs Inc. His name is Titus Herman, and he has found foundations that gave us enough money where, so if you're a veteran, you have not only the dog is free, the training is free. We cover all 50 states, but the dog food is free.
Oh, wow.
Monthly preventables, which are heartworm, flea, and ticks, is free. And like a human, you should see your physician every year.
Yeah.
A dog owner, you should take your dog to have a major physical.
Yeah.
So we pay for all that. We pay for all emergency care. So the thing is blown up in a wonderful way. you do things for the right reason. You don't want any credit, but 2000, and when we started, 2007, I live in Tampa. The United States Special Operations Command is based 6 miles from our house.
Okay.
It's called SOCOM.
Yeah.
And it's the Green Beret, Navy SEALs, Army, Air Force Special Operations, and Marine Special Operations, all headquartered there. So I got a call from Special Operations back in 2007, 2008 about a young Navy SEAL that needed a service dog. No problem. What's his name? Marcus Luttrell. So give me his number. And we became very good friends, and he ended up writing a book, and he was in a movie that, called Lone Survivor that Mark Wahlberg played in him.
Yeah.
And he was one of our first recipients of the dog, and the dog, he ended up, his dog was named Rigby, and Marcus Luttrell ended up on 60 Minutes with Admiral Joe McGuire, retired 3-star admiral, because 60 Minutes had heard that the Navy SEALs were killing civilians, which was the furthest thing from the truth. So Marcus Luttrell and Rigby ended up with Admiral Joe McGuire on 60 Minutes. And then as things happened, Marcus Luttrell introduced my wife Meredith and me to Taya Kyle, Chris Kyle's widow.
Oh, okay.
Chris Kyle wrote a book called American Sniper, and he played the movie. It's the highest grossing war movie ever.
Wow.
It cost $550 million in revenue last year. Chris Kyle was, unfortunately, he was murdered by trying to help a young Marine that had terrible PT. It was terrible. And we met Taya Kyle, and she asked, we met her in Tampa, and she had asked if, she called us a couple months later, she asked if she could have a service dog, because there's no charge for them. We don't have enough dogs for the men, for our veterans, much less the wives.
Yeah.
But we made the right decision, and she ended up help us raise hundreds of thousands of dollars, and did Marcus Luttrell. We have a very, unfortunately, we have a very large Gold Star program. A Gold Star family is a family that's lost a husband or wife, a spouse, or son or daughter in combat, and it's these people, and that happens, just heartbreaking for the family. So we have a wonderful program. So we continue to pump out and develop these wonderful dogs, and it's not only do we change lives, but we save lives.
That's fantastic.
So it's our church and our synagogue, and where we hang our hat. So
what I'm hearing is there's always something going on at JC Newman, be it cigars or helping and being philanthropic and everything. There's always something going on with JC Newman.
Well, Nick, Eric and I are writing a book. Do you have Dad's book, Cigar Family?
I do have your dad's book.
Okay.
Yep.
Wonderful.
Yep.
And so,
in fact, I believe it's autographed by you and Eric.
Correct.
I think I got it when I was down visiting El Reloj in 2020. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And so Grandpa JC wrote a book called Smoke Dreams.
Okay.
And Drew, God bless him, he put it all on the internet. He put it on jcnewman.com. You can read it right there. But so Drew said to Eric and me, he said, you guys got to write a book. We're in the fourth quarter of our life, so our stories are somewhat different. So Drew said, why don't you each write your own book, and then, well, we're not going to sell them. We'll put a price on them. We're going to give them to the smoke shops, the podcaster friends such as yourself, and so we're doing that. And right now, so it will be coming out in 2026.
Awesome. That sounds great. And what I love about that is between your grandfather's book and your father's book and now these books, you guys are just documenting the history of the country, or the company, but then also the cigar culture of the country.
Well, it's in our genes. Grandpa JC, I believe that God put us here to help each other.
Yeah.
And if you're an American, you already won the lottery. You say, as Warren Buffett said, or if you're an American citizen or born in this country. And in Grandpa JC's book, one of his chapters, he came in 1888. They fled the Austro-Hungarian Empire, because the emperor was taking all the males 13 and up into the army, and the slaughter rate was 90%.
Yeah.
And we're here at the TPE in 2025. And
Yeah.
We have our miniature museum, and just a microcosm of what we do. There's a picture of our great-grandmother and our great-grandfather, and if they hadn't come over, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm telling you the story, Grandpa JC he worked very hard, became very successful. By 1898, he wrote to the Spanish-American War was starting to brew up. Grandpa JC, I don't think I ever told you this, but it's in his book. He wrote to this young assistant secretary of the Navy named Teddy Roosevelt, who was he was gathering a volunteer regiment called the Rough Riders.
Yeah.
And he found all the troops in San Antonio, Texas, home of the Alamo.
Yeah.
And he trained his troops in Tampa, where the University of Tampa is, right on the river. And at the time, it's called the Tampa Bay Hotel. And he trained his troops. Grandpa JC volunteered, and if you know the history, the war lasted like less than 4 months.
Yeah.
By the time Teddy Roosevelt got the letter, the war was over. And it probably, if Grandpa JC had gone, many, I don't know if it's thousands of men or many thousands died of yellow fever over there.
Oh.
Dr. Walter Reed, the famous Walter Reed Hospital, he's the one that figured out it was the mosquito that was causing, it bites you and it gives you this yellow fever, which it's now been eradicated. So since we get our genes from, so he wanted to help America, he was ready to give it all up.
Wow.
Because he felt to be an American is such a privilege. So.
Very good. Bobby, I've taken up a lot of your time.
Nick,
I very much appreciate our chats.
I love seeing this too.
No, it's very good.
Do you go to the PCA too?
I'm going to be at PCA this year.
Come by and see us.
I look forward to doing that.
And, you got to come back and see us. You know, you have my cell. I'll give you my card. You have my cell number.
Maybe. I don't know. But
I live and breathe. And
well, let's not give your cell number out to everybody.
Okay.
But folks, you can find out more information about JC Newman Cigar Company at
jcnewman.com.
There you go. Bobby, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you, Nick. God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, it's always good to see Bobby Newman. I mean, the man, he has a lot to say, and he finds ways to weave it all together to have one big conversation. But it's always nice to see Bobby Newman. And, I need to get down to Tampa again. I love that town, and it's been a number of years since I've been down there. You know, maybe, I don't know. It'd be nice to get down there around the same time as Pulpit Fest, but realistically with Pulpit Fest, there's just so much going on, and I'm so concentrated on that I just don't know if there's time to escape away over to Tampa. But be that as it may, always great to see Bobby Newman. So final thoughts on TPE 2025. Like I said, I've gone 6 years now in a row. This was definitely the smallest and in terms of cigars. This was the smallest show that I've been to in terms of cigars. It's not about free cigars or anything like that, but I kind of gauge. I do track how many samples I come home with, because let's be real, I use that for stuff on the show. I use that for all kinds of different things. But it's one of those things where I came back with the least amount of samples that I ever have. And it's not like I sat out and smoked a ton. I mean, realistically, there are days that I had maybe 2 cigars the whole day while I was out there. It's not like you're smoking from sun up to sundown and you're putting down 10 a day or anything like that. It's much less than that. But, I came back with less samples than ever before. There were less manufacturers to talk with. And there were a lot of manufacturers that were represented, but they staffed their whole booth with sales reps. They didn't have like a primary or anybody like that. And sales reps didn't want to talk. It's one of those things where, it's funny. You go up to a booth and you see 8 guys standing around just chatting, and all of a sudden they scatter like rats because, media's here and we don't want to do that. And so, that's why I have, 11 interviews, 11-ish, whatever, 4, 7, 10, 11. Yeah, 11 interviews. And, there were definitely more than 11 companies there. But it's one of those things where, it is what it is. I don't know. I wish 2022 was the high water mark, I feel like, of the 6 years that I've gone. It felt like in 2020, when I first went out, it was like, wow, everybody was there. But it was my first year. I didn't know. 21, I feel like 21 was a big year because it was the first one not even post-COVID. We were still technically within. I mean, like the last day of the show is when the CDC said that, plexiglass can come down and, mask mandates were lifted and this and that and whatever. So, like, realistically, we were still definitely in COVID in May of 21 when they had that show. But it felt like maybe everybody was itching to get out. And I feel like it was a big attendance year that year. 22, I felt like it was continuing to be bigger. Now, do keep in mind that during that period of time that I'm talking about, the big 4 were not attending PCA. So Altadis, General, Drew Estate, and Davidoff had pulled out of PCA for a variety of reasons. And so, I think there was this kind of like this internal push to let's prop up TPE and make it, a competitor to PCA and that sort of thing. And, since then, obviously, those big 4 have come back, and this will be, 2025 will be the first year that they're all 4 back at PCA. I think it's just one of those things where 2022 was a really interesting year because it felt like between the big 4 all being there and the 6-month gap between the 2 shows and everything like that, it felt like it was maybe viable to have the 2 shows, going and be a big thing. But 23 for whatever, that one hit the same year as the Dominican Cigar Festival, the Dominican Republic Cigar Festival. And I know that's why Michael Herklotz couldn't make it to the 2023 one. And then obviously 2024, PCA moved up and then whatever. So yeah, 2022 I feel like was where it peaked in the 6 years that I've gone. And I don't see that changing with anything in regards to 2026. In fact, I will say with 100% certainty that I will not be attending TPE 2026. I just don't feel like there's enough to justify the time and the cost for me to go and attend. I don't think there's going to be enough manufacturers out there for me to go and get enough content to justify it. I don't think the networking is going to, the networking, that's another thing that was definitely different this year. When this year, the host hotel was the Link. Previously, it had been the Sahara. When it was at the Sahara, the Circle Bar at the Sahara was like the place to go. It was like the meeting space. You went down to the Circle Bar at the Sahara, there was always people from the cigar industry sitting down there smoking cigars and chatting. You could find somebody from some company hanging out down in the Circle Bar to sit and have a smoke with. That's where I met Leo from Nova for the first time in 2020. I went down to the Circle Bar. She was down there with the other person from her booth, and they were just sitting by themselves, and I think I asked them for a lighter, or a light or something like that. And next thing you know, I'm sitting with him, and we sat and talked for hours, and that's how that kind of started. But it's one of those things where when you're down at that bar, it was one concentrated meeting place. I don't feel like the Link had that. It had a number of different little bars, but there was no concentrated. Oh, you're going down to the bar tonight? That's the bar. It's like there was no the bar to go to at the Link, and everybody was scattered around. I mean, I wandered around my hotel every day that I was there, and at no point did I see anybody from the cigar industry that I knew. I didn't bump into anybody wandering around Vegas that I knew. And that's unusual. And I don't know. It just wasn't the camaraderie, the social aspect, the networking. It was all, it wasn't there. And so for a lot of reasons, this is going to be my last TPE for a while, or at least until some fairly obvious changes take place. But, it's just one of those things. The show has moved on. It's embracing other things. And cigars are probably always going to be a presence, but it's just not going to be nearly as big as it was. And I feel like it's probably going to just be the big guys that have a West Coast presence, like I said, Altadis, General, Drew Estate, Oliva, those companies that have the staff to spare to go and sit at that booth. They'll go and do that, and everybody else will just kind of focus on PCA. I feel like, I think that's where this is headed. But anyway, that's my TPE report. I will be sitting down with Noah to do a recap show with him here shortly. That is actually going to come out a week from today, so that it'll be next Tuesday. Mostly just due to scheduling, logistics, and everything. But we're going to talk a little bit about kind of what we did, and I can get his impression. Given the fact that this was his first time at something like this, much less, this specific show, he's going to have a different perspective than I will. But I'll get his perspective, and we'll kind of just, shoot the shit, have a good time. But anyway, now that we have concluded that business, let's go ahead and do this business. It's time for the Villiger Cigars Entertainment Report, brought to you by
Villiger.
Villiger Cigars, one of the leading cigar and cigarello manufacturers in the world, founded in 1888 and still family-owned and operated. Head over to VilligerCigars.com and check the store locator to find a shop near you that carries them. We guarantee that Villiger Cigars will be a wonderful addition to your humidor and cigar rotation. So, I haven't watched really much of anything. So this is going to be a little bit different in terms of a Villiger Entertainment Report. In terms of what I've watched, I didn't have a lot of time to watch much of anything while out in Vegas. In the hotel room, there really wasn't much on. I flipped around the channels. Typically, I end up landing on MTV because typically when I'm staying in a hotel, it feels like MTV is running a ridiculousness marathon, and I can just watch goofy videos of people falling down and hurting themselves. But that wasn't the case this time. And so, believe it or not, I found myself watching a marathon of the Golden Girls most nights on CMT. So a lot of jokes about the Golden Girls, being thrown around. But otherwise, what I wanted to kind of highlight here was less about what I've watched and more what I experienced. So I went to a couple of restaurants out in Vegas that I want to highlight in this entertainment report. So the Wednesday night that I was out there. So I flew in on Tuesday evening. I just did like a quick dinner at In-N-Out Burger because we don't have those in the St. Louis area. I love In-N-Out Burger, and so I got myself a nice greasy cheeseburger and chocolate shake, and it was delightful. The chocolate shake could have been more chocolatey, but that's just me. I'm a chocoholic, whatever. But Wednesday night, we all, the group of us, we had dinner at Hell's Kitchen out in front of Caesar's Palace. And, it's not a cheap date, but it was fun and it was different. It's kind of touristy. You go there, it's kind of touristy. They got T-shirts and gift shop shit for sale in the very entrance when you walk in. But they've got the dual kitchens, the blue and the red kitchens going on, and it's fun. We got the menus, and they had a 3-course dinner going on there, so I had that, and it started with like this golden beet salad, and then the main course was, of course, the beef Wellington. And with the potato puree and this and that and whatever. And then the dessert was the sticky toffee pudding with like a vanilla ice cream. And I can't say enough. The food was outrageous. It was so good. I expanded my culinary palate a little bit with all that, and it was very, very good. While the restaurant had a little bit more of a touristy feel than you would have thought, I kind of expected it because it was Vegas, but some people in the party, I think, expected it to be a little more traditional in terms of a restaurant. It was it worked out really, really well, and like I said, the food was so good. The other place I wanted to highlight was we went to dinner. Cherry and I went to dinner over at there's a place in the Park MGM called Nomad Library, and while the atmosphere there was very good, the food was C's get degrees. It was not the best food. So I don't really want to highlight that. But within that facility, there was a place called Eatery, and it's a big Italian, almost like market. Like you walk in, and it's a big space, and there's all these little booths. And at each one of these booths, they have little specialties. Like you go to one, and it's like a cheesemonger. And you go to another, and they have like different smoked meats. One might be making sandwiches. Another place might be making pasta. We went there after dinner, and because dinner was kind of subpar, we opted not to get dessert there. So we went down to Eatery and looked around at dessert, and holy shit, there was a place there that was making cannoli, and it was made to order cannoli. And I had myself some cannoli, and let me tell you, the cannoli at the Eatery, at the booth in Eatery, was well worth the time and the money. It wasn't. I mean, it was Vegas prices, but it wasn't like outrageous. I didn't feel like I was robbed, but holy shit, that was some good cannoli. I didn't get coffee with it because at that point it was already about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, and I was like, I don't really want coffee. That's going to keep me up forever. But I kind of regret that. I wish I would have. I think the coffee would have gone really well with it. But holy crap, I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I want to go back to, that is one thing. I don't know when the next time I'm going to be out in Vegas is, since I'm obviously not going out there for TPE next year. And it seems like the only time I go out to Vegas since 2020 has been going out for TPE. So I don't know when I'm going to make it back out there, but I I will say the next time I go and get cannoli at an eatery location, there's one in Chicago. There's another one somewhere else. I don't know, but they're around. But holy crap, nice coffee with some of those cannoli. Man, that sounds delightful. And then the last place that I want to highlight was a returning favorite from last year. I had breakfast at Bagel Mania, Siegel's Bagel Mania, and I love Bagel Mania. I love bagels. I love Bagel Mania. That place is great. I got there, got a table, and I had both an egg bagel and a chocolate chip bagel along with my breakfast. Had to get the schmear, had to get the cream cheese schmear. And, if I would have had the ability, I probably would have gotten a dozen bagels to go, and been munching on those for a while. But I do love a good bagel. And, man, Bagel Mania has got a good breakfast. And I'll tell you, in terms of Vegas prices, you don't feel like you're walking away getting just violated. So many of these restaurants, you walk away and you're like, I just got bent over. That place, not so much. I feel like they have fair prices for their food, and it's good and it's tasty, and I enjoyed it. The only thing that did kind of suck was I asked my waiter about merchandise. I was like, hey, can I buy merchandise here at the table? And he said, no, you got to go up to the counter, but you don't have to stand in the big long line. Just go right up to the counter since you're buying merchandise, and they can take care of you. So that's what I did. Well, when I got up to the counter, the guy's like, dude, I got this big long line. You got to get in the line and do this. And I'm just like, well, my waiter specifically said I didn't have to. And he goes, whoa. So I ended up not buying shit. And that's on Bagel Mania. And also, you can't buy their merchandise on their website. So I guess they just lost out on that sale because I was looking at a hoodie. But fuck them. Anyway, it was good. It was very, very good breakfast. I enjoyed that immensely. And unfortunately, I left town on Saturday, February 1st. My flight out was at 10:35. Well, had I had a later flight at 11 a.m. at Bagel Mania, Joey Chestnut was there for the World Bagel Eating Championship or competition, and he retained his crown by eating 15 bagels with schmear in 8 minutes, and won like $5,000 in order, doing it. So, part of me it feels like it's kind of a train wreck, like it's gross and you don't want to watch, but you have to watch, because I'm 90% sure that they dunked the bagels in the water like they do the hot dog buns and did that. And so, because I saw pictures that had like cups of like cream cheese water on the stage, and it's like that just seems disgusting. But anyway, for what it's worth, if you're in Vegas, I highly recommend, if you're looking, if you've watched the show and you're interested in trying it, the food there was outrageous. Hell's Kitchen was really good. Go to Eatery in Park MGM. Personally, I wish we would have eaten dinner there instead of the Nomad Library. You live, you learn, but I feel like you probably would have gotten better food there. I know the desserts there are top notch. And then if you're looking for a good breakfast in Vegas, I don't know if you can get any better than Siegel's Bagel Mania. So there's that. Anyway, now let's do this. It's time to fly high with Blackbird Cigars. Blackbird Cigars offers you remarkable quality using the most delicate and finest tobacco to always ensure that you're receiving unsurpassed cigars. Blackbird Cigars strives to give you undoubted repeating flavor for every cigar you smoke and impressive quality so that you can always expect greatness. Check out their website for a full list of stores carrying Blackbird Cigars and give them a test flight. Blackbird Cigars, can't clip our wings. All right, guys. So today we are going to talk about Dan Black. And Dan Black is of Chepstow, Wales. And in 2009, he was paralyzed after a cycling accident and spent 4 years raising approximately $26,000. It was like 20,000 pounds. He was doing so for a potential stem cell treatment that could one day help him walk again. But in 2013, upon hearing about a young man named Brecken Vaughn, he was a 5-year-old boy from the same town who was unable to walk due to a spastic dysplasia, cerebral palsy. I don't know. Spastic dysplasia, cerebral palsy, I guess. Dan made a pretty big decision. And recognizing that Brecken had a better chance of walking with a specialized surgery in the United States, Dan donated his entire savings, the full $26,000, to help the boys' treatment fund. And this act of generosity not only helped Brecken's family reach their fundraising goal, but eventually allowed the young boy to take his first steps without assistance, fulfilling a dream that Dan selflessly gave up. So guys, be like Dan Black and Blackbird Cigars and don't let anybody clip your wings. I just think that's so nice. You know, it's like, talk about being selfless. You know, it's like, I mean, I don't know. You spend all that time and effort having a dream of being able to do something again, and you know, you recognize. I don't know. Anyway, I think it's very cool. So it's a good story. Now let's do this.
Guess what, motherfucker?
It's time for 3 cigars we smoked and enjoyed this week, and I like I said, I smoked less than you would think. You would think that going to a cigar trade show, you'd be like, just puffing away at shit, but it's not that easy. For example, you know, aside from the fact that you know, you're just busy. You know, when I'm doing these interviews, I don't have a cigar because I don't want to have a cigar from this company as I'm going up to another company and asking if I can get audio and video from them. You know, it's like, and I can't reasonably have a cigar from every single company that I'm talking to, you know, as I'm talking to them. Because, I mean, you know, you guys heard the interviews with the exception of Mr. Newman. I mean, most of them were a minute to 3 minutes, you know, so realistically, you know, I mean, my whole day would be taken up just smoking the rest of the, because I'm not going to waste it. Now, don't get me wrong. I saw plenty of wasted cigars in the ashtrays. You know, in fact, there was one, I don't want to mention the brand, but I overheard a couple of reps from another brand talking about how they saw this cigar in an ashtray, and they're like, dude, they barely smoked an inch or barely smoked a half an inch of it. And it's like, you know, and it's just sitting there in the ashtray just dead. And it's like, what a shame, you know. It's like this cigar it's a good cigar and it's just sitting there dead. And I know exactly what they were talking about. And it was a shame. You know, I am not one to take a cigar out of an ashtray, clip off the end and smoke the rest of it. But if I were a dirty animal, like somebody that, you know, longtime listeners may know of, you know, that would have happened because it was a good, damn good cigar that was wasted. So that sucks. But, anyway, so I didn't smoke nearly as much as you might think, but I did smoke. Now, the first one I want to throw a shout out to is one that Oliver Nouveau gave to me when I got to his table. He was actually the very first table that I saw and stopped at when I got to TPE on Wednesday. First guy I saw, you know, bright and early, right there in the beginning of the media hour, you know, on Wednesday. And by the way, whoever the freaking convention center had working the door to the show floor, there was this old guy. You guys need to train these guys to let them know how to identify a media badge versus everybody else, because all 3 days, this guy hassled the shit out of all 4 of us about getting into the show floor for the media hour. And like, I mean, you'd think that after the first day, he would maybe recognize, you know, at least after the second day. Like, you've literally had a confrontation with us 2 days in a row. You would think that after the second day, but no, all 3 days, this old bird was hassling us about getting in at 10 a.m. And it's like, dude, let me by. Like, I have the permission to be in there. I have appointments to be made. Like, let me by. Anyway, that's another gripe. But I walked up to Oliver's booth. I said hi to him, and he's like, you guys need a cigar today? And it's like, no, not yet. He's like, I have a breakfast cigar. And I tried the La Mezcla Cubana Rothschild. And it was the first cigar of the day on Wednesday. And by God, this Rothschild, I mean, it's not a big cigar by any means. It's a Rothschild, slightly smaller than a Robusto. Holy shit! It lasted forever. It had great flavor. It burned wonderfully, especially given the fact that I wasn't truly fully paying attention to it. It's not like I was like concentrating on it. I had it. It was in hand. I touched it. I had to like relight it a couple times. I'm doing stuff, but oh my God, this thing smoked amazingly well. And so, yeah, I want to give a big shout out to the La Mezcla Cubana Rothschild from United, because that thing was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Not that I had any ashtrays to ash in, because there's another gripe about TPE that I forgot to include in my earlier TPE report, which is they used to have ashtrays all over the place. Now, they didn't have shit for ashtrays, and everybody was basically ashing on the carpet and just walking on it. It was embarrassing, and it was filthy, and it was dirty, and it was what it was. But yeah, no, ashtrays were not prevalent around, and that's something they definitely. And then on Friday, I actually saw the guys going around with the cart. They had ashtrays in the center aisle. So separating the red and the blue carpet. They had ashtrays just in that center aisle. And they were very spread far apart. But I saw a guy with a flat cart going through and picking them up at like 11:30 in the morning. Which it's like the show runs from 11 to 3. But they were picking up ashtrays by 11:30. So, they definitely deprived us of ashtrays at this show. But whatever. Anyway. First cigar, La Mezcla Cubana Rothschild from United. The second cigar that I smoked that I have to highlight was one that I had at the Monte Cristo Lounge. I'm walking around the Monte Cristo Lounge humidor with Noah, and, we're looking for cigars to smoke. And obviously, Vegas prices are in full effect. I mean, there was nothing in that humidor cheaper than $20. And $20 got you a Tatiscan. Not even joking, $20 Tatiscan. A Java, one of the flavored infused Rocky Patel Drew Estate collaboration Javas, was $30. Not even joking, $30. But so we're not talking cheap dates here. So I'm kind of looking at this and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pay a lot for a cigar. If I'm going to pay a lot for a cigar, I might as well go balls deep and go all in and find myself something really good, to where if I'm going to pay a higher premium for that cigar, at least I know that cigar is worth the money that I'm putting down for it. And I have now set a benchmark for the most expensive cigar I've ever purchased. It used to be a $50 Davidoff that I got at the Davidoff Lounge in Las Vegas. But the one that I purchased at the Monte Cristo Lounge, and actually, in all fairness, being very nice and trying to be, gracious and thankful that, they came out and everything, I bought one for Noah as well, so he and I could smoke it together. Smoke two of them. Each had one, not the same one. We're not smoking the same cigar together. I bought the Byron 21st Century Disconditos at the Monte Cristo Lounge with Noah. That was a $75 cigar. I have now bought a $75 cigar. I bought a $75 Byron, and the thing about it though, Byron. I know everybody talks about Atabey, and don't get me wrong, I love Atabey. Atabey is a little light for my palate, very, very flavorful, but I wanted a little bit more body. They had Atabey, but I went for the Byron. And the thing is that we got to that lounge, it's probably about 9:30-ish, 9:30, or so by the time we got there. And I purchased that cigar. We left there at, oh my God, 12:30? It's about midnight 30, about 12:30. And that cigar got me the whole way. Nice, slow smoke. Didn't need to touch it up. Didn't need to relight it. It was just the perfect slow smoke. I got 3, just shy. Because by the time I sat down, got my drink, got settled, got it lit, I'd say it was closer to 10 o'clock. And so I probably got a solid 2.5 hours out of that Byron. And it was just the perfect cigar for me to sit and enjoy at the Monte Cristo Lounge on Wednesday night after the dinner at Hell's Kitchen. And it just, it hit. It just absolutely hit. And so I'm really happy that I was able to do that. I'm very happy, I was able to share that experience, and Noah and I were able to sit down and do that. It was a very nice time. So I had a good time at the Monte Cristo Lounge with the Byron. And then the final cigar that I wanted to highlight is one that Bobby Newman gave me, and that I smoked after my interview with him and conversation with him. And that would be the Diamond Crowned Black Diamond Marquise. That's just the size, but it was the Diamond Crown Black Diamond. And I've had that cigar before, but man, it hit so nicely Thursday late afternoon. It was just such a fine cigar, and it was actually the second and last cigar that I had on that Thursday. I didn't have any, after that. So it was probably about 3 o'clock in the afternoon when I fired that thing up, and I'd say, when I put it out, that was the last cigar I had for the day. Great cigar though. Very much enjoyed that. It hit all the notes I needed to hit, and it was really, really good. So anyway, that was the 3 that I smoked and enjoyed this past week: the Lumezla Cabana, the Byron, and the Diamond Crown Black Diamond. Well, we are at the point now that I tell you that I am available on Instagram at The Cigar Pulpit. I'm available on Facebook, where we have the Pulpit Parishioners group. You can get in on the fun there by joining that. You can follow me on Twitter/X. I am available on Rumble if you want to watch this on Rumble. It's just like YouTube. Just go over there, make a profile, sign up, and subscribe to the Cigar Pulpit. That way you don't miss an episode. Because at some point I'm going to be off Rumble. It's just YouTube. It's just a matter of time. I don't know when. I keep saying that. Maybe it'll never happen. I guess whatever. We'll move on. I'm on YouTube. You can watch me on there as well. I am also on Spotify video. So if you use Spotify, you can watch this on Spotify video and or listen to it. Your choice, whichever. It's all up to you. And then I do need your calls for Ask the Pulpit. You can give us a call on the hotline at area code 863-874-0000. That's 863-874-0000. Anyway, final thoughts on the Perdomo 30th. I have not talked about it at all. We're going to have to do another episode where we actually go through and really highlight this cigar more. I've been kind of distracted with other stuff, but you guys nailed it. I mean, it's definitely a fantastic cigar. It's my favorite of the 30ths. It's got Great flavor components to it. It's a nice, good, solid. I'd say solid medium. You know, it's a solid medium cigar. It's construction on it's been amazing, despite the fact that I've had to, relight it a number of times because I'm yakking and talking and everything. But no, we're gonna have to do another episode where we really dive into the Perdomo 30th and give it its full due, because I don't feel like I have done so I haven't done so at all on this episode. I lit it up and then smoked it and forgot about it. But anyway, that would be my TPE thoughts. I hope that you guys got something out of it. I know it's maybe a little bit of a mixed bag. I think that's kind of how I feel about the show. It was kind of a bit of a mixed bag. I am looking forward to PCA. I will be attending PCA for the first time this year down in New Orleans. I spoke with a number of people at PCA or TPE about that, and they were telling me like, "Oh, dude, PCA is night and day different from this." So I am looking forward to PCA and seeing what I can see there. So we'll see. It's going to be a nice comparison between the two shows. But anyway, I guess that's about it, guys. So otherwise, this has been another sermon from the Cigar Pulpit. I'm Nick. Stay safe and stay smoky. You know what? Real quick little soda plug. Anybody that is in the St. Louis area, I don't know if you can order this online. They do have a website. But I've been digging the shit out of Fitz's Orange Cream Soda. It's Fitz's. Fitz's. Their website is fitzsrootbeer.com. They make it's out of St. Louis. They make obviously root beer. That's their big thing. But they have a variety of different sodas. I'm not a soda guy in by any means. But man, this orange cream soda, I've been digging the hell out of this, and I got myself a 4-pack of that. And does it pair well with cigars? Whatever, I mean, you can pair whatever the hell you want with a cigar, but I will say it's gone nice with this Perdomo 30th. So anyway, Fitz's Orange Cream Soda. There you go. Later, guys.